Coming up, full results of the 2024 election.
And coverage of key battleground states that shaped the election.
And Hawkeye athletes flock to the polls.
Are skies clearing after the election? I'll tell you more in weather.
All that and more
coming up right now on DITV.
Good morning from Iowa City. Thank you for tuning into our election coverage show. It is Wednesday, November 6th, and I'm Grace Lathrop.
And I'm Hannah Lipsky.
Before we get into election results, we'll send it out to Colin Carruthers for weather updates.
Colin, it's been nothing but rain and clouds lately. Is the sun coming around anytime soon?
Yeah, thanks guys. And it's a good question about the sun. Right now, some clouds in the sky, but you can see I'm live at the Iowa River Terrace where behind me, the Iowa River flowing right now. See some deers walking behind us, so if they come our way, I might have to back away real quick. But still, a crisp 44 degrees outside. Let's take a look at what's in store with us the rest of the day. Things look like it could get up to the mid-50s, but they'll drop back down to 38 degrees later tonight. Still consistently cloudy skies, as you mentioned, Hannah, throughout. A slight improvement from the typical rain the past few days. Now, taking a look ahead to tomorrow, a very similar, almost identical day with the clouds and temps back in the mid-50s. So make sure you keep those sleeves consistent. I know the past few days were slightly warmer, but I declare the sweater weather of fall has officially set in. Back to you guys in the studio.
The 2024 presidential election proved to be a major shakeup to the American political landscape. At the top of the ticket, former President Donald Trump defeated Vice President Kamala Harris. When Wisconsin was called for Trump at 4:36 a.m., it put him over the 270 electoral votes. Trump successfully flipped Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin back to the GOP after losing those states in 2020, giving him a decisive advantage. President-elect Donald Trump addressed his supporters last night.
Powerful mandate.
Sorry, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. The Trump campaign held their official watch party in West Palm Beach, Florida. This speech occurred after Trump won Pennsylvania, which put him on the cusp of hitting his needed 270 votes to win the presidency. In his speech, Trump outlined his broad goal for his next term.
I will govern by a simple motto: promises made, promises kept. We're going to keep our promises.
Trump will become the second president to serve multiple disconnected terms. And while we see the results, it is important to note that the Electoral College system is the determining factor of the president-elect. Let's break down to the basics. The Electoral College consists of 538 members, and members are chosen based on the number of senators and House of Representative members each state has. Since representative number is chosen based on state population, the number of electors in each state varies. Electoral votes are not the same as the popular vote. The popular vote makes the majority of votes for the candidate. After the state is certified, electors meet and deliberate on the candidates based on the popular vote. If the candidates are tied, the vote goes to the House, and congressional delegation members get one vote per state. That vote occurs on December 17th, and the certification occurs on January 6th. So last night's results of the election will not be certified for quite some time. Congress cannot challenge any electors based on or after the safe harbor deadline on December 11th. Then on December 17th, electors required to cast their vote for president. A week later, results arrive on the 25th. Governors must confirm their state's presidential election results. And on January 3rd, the new Congress is sworn in, and then Congress counts electoral votes on January 6th, and the winner will be formally certified. The president is then inaugurated on January 20th.
Nearly every election is dependent on swing states. DITV sent two of our own to Georgia and Nevada to see what opinions people had on the nominees.
I'm here at the Georgia GOP's watch party for the 2024 election, where the party welcomed a full house to their event.
Now, despite polls leading into the election saying that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump would be running a tight race against each other, supporters of Trump had no doubt their candidate would win tonight.
He hasn't won yet, but we're pretty confident he's going to win right now because the only states we're waiting on are Wisconsin, Minnesota, a few others. Pennsylvania, of course, being the big one.
It is very possible. It is very likely that he will win.
And at the time of airing, Trump has won a few of those states. When asked what drove their votes for him, people had varying answers at the event.
Trump clearly cares about the people. He's a businessman. He's shrewd. He's smart. We've seen with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they may be smart, but they're not as shrewd. They don't have like the sense that he has and understanding of the economy and how that works.
Some, however, were a little more straightforward with their answers.
To make America great again. He is the epitome of the American dream.
Some were voting for him not just because of Trump, but because of other politicians.
I'm not voting just for Trump. I'm also voting for RFK, for Tulsi Gabbard, for Vivek Ramaswamy, all those other people. So a big part of my vote was actually the entire Trump team.
Later on, after the watch party had ended, Georgia would end up being called for Trump by the Associated Press. Now I'll send it over to the other side of the country with DITV Assistant News Director Jace Bertrand.
I'm here at the Aria Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, and inside, the Nevada Democratic Party is hosting their watch party for the election.
As the polls closed at 8 p.m. on the West Coast, Democratic voters across the city gathered to celebrate as votes came in. Others were members of organizations working with Democrats leading up to the election.
We ourselves can't vote, but we want to get that message out there that what Kamala Harris and what Tim Walz stand for is what our future should be.
We are out here canvassing for Kamala. We were door knocking. We've been out here for 5 days making sure that Nevadians know that we're here, that they have support, and to get out and vote.
These organizations showcased Las Vegas's wide variety of concerns and goals going into the election.
First and foremost, I say a very big one is gun violence prevention because of what happened here less than a year ago on December 6th at UNLV, as well as October 1st, just a few years back. That's something that I think unites our communities, regardless of Democrat or Republican. Both parties feel a need to have progress on that issue.
As votes began rolling in, several key Democrats within the state made speeches in support of Kamala Harris.
We feel confident, listen, we feel confident that when all the votes are counted tonight and this week, however long it takes to cure and count every single vote, we will win the Silver State for Democrats up and down the ballot.
As a women's majority legislature, I can tell you, as a member of that legislature, firsthand, who runs this world, it's us girls.
However, with Donald Trump now being the favored candidate for the election, the road ahead for Democrats may be tricky. At the time of recording, Republican Sam Brown holds the slimmest of leads over incumbent Democrat Susie Lee for the Nevada Senate seat, while incumbents Dina Titus, Stephen Horsford, and Susie Lee are projected to win their House seats. Republican Mark Amoti retains his seat after running unopposed.
And while the election still has not been called yet, the paths towards victory for Harris are narrowing. However, the Democrats of Nevada are hoping to still win some key victories to keep control of the state. From the Aria Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, Jace Bertrand, DITV.
Thanks, guys. And this election is setting records in more ways than one. In addition to being the most expensive election in history, it also already became the most litigated. Both Democrats and Republicans have spent millions of dollars and prepared thousands of lawyers for a battle that's sure to go long after yesterday's election. Over 200 lawsuits have already been filed prior to Election Day, while there were only 157 in the last presidential election. Challenges from Republicans are centered around the idea that election integrity, which includes concerns about non-citizens voting and proper vote counting. Meanwhile, Democrat challenges are focused on the factors that impede people's right to vote. The results for the Iowa District 1 have yet to be called. Earlier this morning, Marionette Miller Meeks had 50.1% of the votes and Christina Bohannon had 49.9%. There was less than a 500 vote difference, so a recall is most likely to occur. Marionette Miller Meeks had 203,899 votes, and Christina Bohannon had 203,486 votes. The race for the 1st District for the Iowa's House of Representatives has yet to be called, and that remains tight. DITV's Kayla Smith has the insight into each watch party.
I'm here at Riverside Casino, where Marionette Miller Meeks and some of her closest supporters have come together to await the results of the election.
Miller Meeks supporters spent the night cheering on her run for a 3rd term in the House of Representatives.
Politicians who don't win are not quite as valuable as politicians who do.
Supporters of Miller Meeks were on the edge of their seat, awaiting the results of each county in this tight race.
Bohannon is very closely in the lead. I think it's possible that she could come back and win it, but yeah, you never know. I'm excited to see what happens.
While the election for the 1st District seat was not confirmed by the end of the night as votes were still being counted in Washington County, Miller Meeks has personally claimed victory.
Not only did we not lose by 16 points, we won. We won this district a 3rd time.
On the other side of the aisle, the Bohannon Watch Party kicked off with a packed room with high energy. Supporters came together cheering for wins across the state, while also sharing their personal experiences of why Bohannon is the candidate for them.
I nearly died in pregnancy, and I just really think that if the laws were the same right now, that I would have not survived my ordeal. The doctors thought that I wouldn't survive or I would be brain dead.
This was Bohannon's 2nd time facing Miller Meeks, with more supporting and backing than before.
I love Christina Bohannon.
Look, I'm really proud of Christina Bohannon. It's looking like a close race. I think we knew it was going to be a close race, but one thing I have to say to you Iowa students, I mean, they turned out.
While District 1 results are still up in the air as of 6 a.m. this morning, both parties remain confident that they will win the vote. From District 1, Kayla Smith, DITV.
The presidential election wasn't the only election people were voting for yesterday.
DITV's Marshawn Gunn is in the newsroom to tell us more about how the local election turned out in the House.
Yeah, guys, there were 4 different elections happening in the state of Iowa yesterday. In District 2, Republican Ashley Hinson kept her seat against Democrat Sarah Corkery, winning the race with 56.8% of the votes. This district covers northeastern Iowa and includes Cedar Rapids, Dubuque, Waterloo, and Decorah. The AP called this race at 10:08 last night. After a close race in District 3, Zach Don managed to keep his seat after a race against Landon Backham, getting 51.8% of the votes. This will be Nunn's 2nd term in office, with his race being called at 11:18 last night. In District 4, Randy Feenstra easily took the district over Democrat Ryan Melton, gaining over 70% of the vote. This race was the earliest called of the 4 races, being called by the AP at 9:45 last night. We're yet to see what the result of District 1's election is, but we're hoping to get the results soon. Back to you guys in the studio.
In the Senate, things were shaken up much more than the House. In District 22, Democrat challenger Matt Blake has been called the winner according to the Associated Press, taking the seat from Republican incumbent Brad Zahn. Democrat Sarah Throne Garrett declared victory in District 14 on Tuesday night over Republican Mark Hansen in her bid to seek a 3rd term in the Iowa Senate in a race separated by only a handful of votes. With 99% of the votes counted, Throne, Garrett, and Hansen all sit with 50%, with only 19 votes between them. With a lot of close races, recounts are bound to be happening soon.
Local elections for Johnson County have been called. Eleanor A. Lavin won the race for state representative for District 89. She was running unopposed in the election for the State House of Representatives. Jennifer Breon, Michael Donovan, and Thomas Scott are now set to be on the Johnson County Soil and Water Conservation Commission. The commission works to reduce soil loss and improve the overall health of soil while reducing water runoff to improve water quality. Christine Burns won an unopposed race for the Johnson County Agricultural Extension Council, which fills a vacancy for the position. The Extension Council is elected by Johnson County and works with Iowa State University to help provide research and educational opportunities. Lisa Green Douglas, Rod Sullivan, and Mandy Remington are set to be on the Johnson County Board of Supervisors. The board covers various general topics in the county. Julie Persons won unopposed for the Johnson County Auditor position. The auditor works to administer elections and maintain county voter registration records. Brad Kunkel won the unopposed race for Johnson County Sheriff. Freshmen are experiencing many firsts this year, including their first presidential election. We have Isabel Thier live in Peterson Hall with a look at freshmen's first vote.
Thanks, guys. I'm here at one of the polling stations available for students. Freshmen had the chance to do an absentee ballot or to vote in person, and I had the opportunity to meet on some of their first presidential election.
Voting at the University of Iowa was a new experience for all freshman students. With polling stations at Peterson, Catlett, and Parkview Church, students could easily access their ballots. Students shared their thoughts about the importance of voting in this election.
I think it's your right as a citizen, so I think it's important for every single person to vote because your voice counts, and if you don't vote, that just, I don't know, it doesn't help our democracy very well.
Every vote matters, and it's really important for first-time voters to go out and vote. It doesn't matter if you're 18, 19, 20, if this is your first or second. Everybody needs to go out and vote to let their voice be heard and make a change.
I think it's important that people go out to vote because obviously everybody has different opinions, so you just want to make sure your opinion gets counted.
I think especially nowadays, it's really important, everybody should vote, even if you're not really sure. I thought I wasn't going to vote, and then I decided to just because it really does make an impact, I think.
It is really big because that's what a lot of people in our country fought for, was the right for us to be able to vote.
Have your right to vote is a really big thing that not everybody has everywhere in the world, so go out and vote.
The importance of voting was not overlooked by these students as they proudly wore their "I voted" sticker upon leaving the polls.
The lines were long when I was on the vote, and I'm happy to see the big student participation. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Izzy. When we come back, we'll look ahead at weather for the weekend.
And check in on how the football team cast their votes.
You're watching DITV at 8:30. Let's take a look back outside with Colin for the forecast for the week ahead.
Well, thanks, guys. The wind picking up a little bit, but same old Midwest weather, not only today, but with the week ahead. Going throughout that weekend, we'll sit the mid-upper 50s the entire time. Lows looking to hit the mid-30s, mid-40s. Lots of clouds throughout those days, but the sky will just close up even more when you look at Saturday with expected showers all 24 hours. However, starting with the following work week, Monday and Tuesday, temperatures rise a little bit to those highs, 50s and mid-60s. Almost could feel like a typical September again, but the lows of those 2 days aren't too much higher than the lows over the weekend. It'll be low mid-40s at the night camp, but the days are excelled by the warmth with a lot less clouds, looking like mostly sunny days on Monday and Tuesday. That's a look at our near future ahead of us. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Colin. And now it was a very long night for some of us here. We had some of our staff staying overnight to help write this show, and we were going live for 5 hours until around 1:30 last night.
That's right, Hannah. We've had a long day, lots of politics. Let's take a quick break and send it to Brady for some of the sport updates.
Yeah, thanks, guys. But before we take that break, with the presidential election last night, college campuses are home to a large variety of people, and student athletes make up one of the most recognizable student groups on campus. This election, football players at the University of Iowa received encouragement from their coaches to hit the polls.
Yeah, no, they're definitely telling us to go out and vote. People fought for this right.
Definitely at this age, being a fifth-year senior, and we're practically real adults that should be out in the real world, so hopefully all the seniors are out there voting.
Along with that, the team brought in some outside help to both encourage and inform the players.
We had
the Hawk to Vote people come and talk to us the other day. I know a lot of guys are going out there. I'm going today. A lot of young guys, I know I've never done this. This will be my first time doing it. And it's just like your civil duty to just go out and do it.
As student athletes, the football team makes up one of the most important demographics of this election: young adult voters.
We're going to be the next generation of people out there, so our voice obviously matters. So it's been the lower part in earlier elections, so just trying to raise that part up.
When you have people of the older demographic that are in 60s, 70s, 80s and being the biggest voter percentage, then it's like they're voting for rights that they might not fully get to live out, and we're just getting the leftover. It's obviously just a start. It takes more than just an election. It's got to be continued momentum built up over time.
I think a lot of young kids kind of think that their opinions don't matter and that their vote is kind of meaningless, but they should go out and vote and exercise their rights, because that's what's so great about living in America.
And while they may play in front of tens of thousands of people on Saturday, last night they joined the rest of Iowa City in using their civil right. But moving from the ballot box to the turf, Iowa linebacker Jay Higgins was named a Dick Butkus Award semifinalist. Higgins is one of just 15 athletes named semifinalists for the award, which is given to the best linebacker in college football. The last Hawkeye to win the award was Jack Campbell in 2022, while Josie Jewell before him was a finalist in 2016. And as the calendar has flipped into November, with that, the winter sports have began. DITV's Joel Keller will fill us in on the men's basketball season opener.
Iowa men's hoops is officially back in season. The Hawkeyes tipped off against Texas A&M Commerce to begin the year. A slow start had the Hawkeyes only up 7 points in the first half. Commerce forced the Hawkeyes into 7 turnovers in the first half and were able to turn the defense into efficient offense as they shot 48% from the field. The Hawkeyes led by only 7 points heading into halftime. The struggles from the first half did not carry over into the second. The Iowa Hawkeyes were led by new faces in a strong press defense that had the Hawkeyes up 29 points with 4 minutes left in the game.
We got some steals in our press, and they got the dunks and just easy baskets. So I think once the energy picked up, we started to get going a little bit.
That really sparked the energy. Got the crowd going, got a lot of our guys going, which led to on the offensive end, the ball's moving.
Guard Drew Thelwell showed out in his first game as a Hawkeye. The grad transfer from Morehead State finished with 10 points, 2 steals, and 2 assists.
Drew brought a lot of energy. He was getting steals, getting dunks. He's a great defender.
Peyton Sanford had a great game to start the season. He received preseason All-Big Ten honors and lived up to the expectations. He finished with 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in the 89-67 win on Monday.
It's kind of what you would expect. He's a senior. He's one of the best players in our league, one of the best players in the country. And that's how he played tonight.
The Hawkeyes emerged victorious despite the slow start. The Hawkeyes get back on the hardwood on Thursday when they will play Southern University. From Carver Hawkeye Arena, I'm Joel Keller, DITV Sports.
The Iowa field hockey team is the 7th and the last seed in the Big Ten tournament, and they're facing 2nd-seeded Maryland in the quarterfinal round. Iowa had one of their strangest seasons in recent memory, being ranked in the top 10 in the preseason polls, but they finished the season with a 9-8 record, including 5 losses against unranked teams. However, they also had wins against Wake Forest, Penn State, Cal, and number 3 Ohio State. They'll have their hands full tomorrow against the Terrapin team that shut them out 5-0 earlier this season. The game will start at 2 p.m. on Big Ten Plus, and the winner will play whoever comes out on top between Michigan and Indiana. And the Iowa women's basketball team opens up the regular season against the Northern Illinois Huskies tonight. In their first season without Caitlin Clark and Lisa Bluter, Jan Jensen and Lucy Olson have been the faces to step up and lead this new-look Hawkeye squad. Lucy Olson, in her exhibition preview, dropped 14 points, but it was Hannah Stolke and freshman Tegan Mullaney that led the way with 18 points each. Jan Jensen and the squad will look to lean on their new stars and start off the new era with a win tonight at 6:30 on Big Ten Plus. That is all for sports for now. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Brady. Now, I'm really excited to tell everyone what we had in store and what we were planning last night.
That's right. And although it was a stressful time in politics, some of our staff celebrated Election Day with their pets.
is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes. And you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. You're the new MC, you got the read.
Thank you for joining us online or listening on KRUI 89.7 FM.
We are here live from Iowa City every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30 a.m. and online anytime at thedailyiowan.com.
For Colin Carruthers, Brady Barron, I'm Grace Lathrop. I'll see you again on Friday morning right here on DITV.